We are live, Dolly. Oh, great. Hello, Anders. Hello, Nicholas.
Hi.
Hi.
We are live, Dolly. Great. Good afternoon and good evening, Nicholas. For those of you joining us through YouTube, we will be starting soon in just a few minutes. Good afternoon and good evening.
Echoing. Is it me only, or
Sorry.
I think it was echoing. The noise was there, the background noise. I hope it's only me.
Is it any better now?
Actually, there's a lot of background noise, Deepak.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dolly.
If anyone is opening that YouTube live event as well, right, parallelly, switch off that video or audio of that particular thing. So that might cause echo.
Yeah. Hello everyone. नहीं आ रहा हमारा
Hello.
Hello from Embassy of India.
Yes, Savita, we can hear you.
No, I'm not Anita. I'm not Savita.
Okay, sorry. I thought Savita was checking in earlier.
Yes. I think we will
Welcome.
just. Yeah, thank you, Miss Anita, for joining. I think we'll have to just switch on your video and then we are good to go. We're all ready to start.
My video is on, but I don't know if it is. Now is it okay?
No, still can't see you.
Now?
See her. Hello, this is Yasmin. This is Yasmin from the Embassy of Sweden. I can see you. Mrs.
Okay.
Anita, we can see you.
Yeah. Okay.
I can see you clearly and hear you also.
Okay.
Because on my screen I have a huge this one of today's I think backdrop of joint webinar.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
I don't know whether I'm seen or not.
Okay, perfect. So I think we are ready to start. Welcome everybody on behalf of Team Sweden, and we welcome all of you. I now call on the moderator for today's event, Dolly Berry from the Swedish Trade Office, to walk us through the proceeding, and request everyone to keep their mics on mute until your chance to speak. Thank you. Dolly, over to you.
Thank you, Amrit, and a very warm welcome. As Amrit just mentioned, we're very happy to have everyone joining us today. A great lineup of speakers. Also, everyone joining on YouTube. Thank you so much. I would also like to reiterate the point that Amrit just made. Please mute yourselves till your chance to speak comes up. So once again, welcome to the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center. This webinar today is going to be about the center and its innovation challenge that we have recently launched across India, and it's open now globally, or at least in Sweden. A very big thank you to our supporting partners for today's webinar: the Ministry of Health in Sweden, the Embassy of Sweden in India, the Embassy of India in Sweden, Swecare, SIBC, Invest in Skåne, Umeå University, and Sahlgrenska Science Park. We're very grateful also to our collaborators, AIIMS Delhi, AIIMS Jodhpur, and our knowledge partner, AstraZeneca. Before I invite our first speaker to commence the proceedings of today, I would request everyone on YouTube to please post your questions and your comments in the chat box over there, and we will take up all your questions during the Q&A session a little later. So with this, I would like to invite Mr. Anders Tofte. He's the Acting Trade Commissioner of Sweden to India to make the welcome remarks. Over to you, Anders.
Thank you, Dolly. Innovators, dear friends, it is with a great pleasure I welcome you all here today to join forces with us in the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center. As we all know, The innovation journey starts with something, a problem, a need, a demand, perhaps a dream, or just by pure curiosity. It could be anything. But without an open mind, without strong forward-looking culture, without strong believers, which allows people and ideas to flow freely, to be challenged, to meet in safe and friendly and creative environment, the magic will not happen. The India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center provides us with this platform, that environment. And together with all of you, or our core partners, Dolly said it very well before, but I will highlight a couple of you. AIIMS Delhi and Jodhpur, AstraZeneca, all Team Indian members, all Team Sweden members, all friends in academia, and of course, all entrepreneurs and innovators. It will not happen, but together we will succeed. So friends, innovators, let's continue this journey and innovate together to make the world a little bit better every day. Thank you so much. Welcome. And let's make the magic happen together. Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you very much, Anders, and thank you for mentioning our co-partners again. Of course, we have to make this a collaborative journey. So I now welcome for the opening remarks, Mr. Nicholas Jacobson, Deputy Director General and Head of Division for EU and International Affairs from the Ministry of Health and Social Affairs of the Embassy of Sweden. From the Government of Sweden. Nicholas, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Dolly, and good afternoon to everyone, old friends and new acquaintances. It's a really a great pleasure and honor for me to speak to you today at this webinar. And I know this will be maybe a little repetitious, but on behalf of the Swedish Ministry of Health, I also want to thank all the organizers here, like SweCare, Business Sweden, the Indian Embassy, the Swedish Embassy in Delhi, the SIBC, Umeå University, Skåne Innovation, and all the others involved in organizing this. And I want to thank you for all your hard work. Where we aim to discuss how we can take the India-Swedish collaboration in this field of health further. As you all know, India and Sweden share values of democracy and the commitments to the global goals of Agenda 2030, as well as a strong partnership and a successful cooperation in the healthcare sector. And since more than 10 years now, we have an MOU on the cooperation in the field of healthcare and public health that was signed by the Ministers of Health of India and Sweden. Last year, we had the India-Sweden Year of Health celebration, and that was a testament on how our relations have developed and deepened over the years. We have had every year several meetings, and also with a joint working group with our ministries and stakeholders that was really fruitful. I had the pleasure of being part of 3 different Swedish delegations to India last year. And one of them was the state visit with the Swedish King and Queen in December. And this visit was used to highlight this 10-year anniversary of our cooperation with also the attendance of the Indian Minister of Health and a wide range of important stakeholders in the field. One important area of cooperation is, of course, the Sweden-India Innovation Partnership that was signed when Prime Minister Modi visited Sweden in 2018. The innovation partnership represents a step change in the India-Sweden science and innovation collaboration, including health and life science. One could view this cooperation as a success story. So, what are the reasons for this success? I would like to start with emphasizing the importance of commitment. Under the umbrella of the MOU, many different organizations and people have been active in a number of different thematic areas for many years, as many of you know. Another important factor for the success of the collaboration is the construction of this MOU and its 3 pillars, which involves both the public, the private, and the academic sectors. Through this, as we call it, triple helix approach, we encourage collaboration not just between countries, but between different sectors of the society. We can see that over the years, research collaboration has flourished, policy change between governmental agencies has been initiated, as well as increased trade that has been occurring between our countries. The purpose of today's meeting is to take stock of the recent years and look forward. I'm glad that the collaboration between Sweden and India has not stopped during this time of the very dire times, actually, during the pandemic. But on the contrary, many new ways of collaborations are taking place. The pandemic makes it even more important to build on the success of this MOU and the Joint Action Plan and the Sweden-India Innovation Partnership. I know that our prime ministers spoke recently. They agreed on the importance of developing collaboration in the health sector. One of our common global challenges is the digital transformation of our health systems to optimize the use of technology. And it is my firm belief that the healthcare of the future must be digital and accessible. And this is something that we will achieve by enhancing innovation, research, collaborations, and co-creations across country and sector borders. The Innovation Center has gained further importance to address the current and future healthcare challenges. And thank you once again for allowing me to be part of this, and I look forward to learn more about the outcome of these discussions today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. You covered it all so well. And yes, our endeavor is to continue on with this partnership and get stronger each day. With that, I invite Ms. Anita Shukla, Charge d'Affaires at the Embassy of India in Stockholm, to please speak words. Ms. Shukla.
Good afternoon, everyone. Some are known faces and some are new to me. So hello, everyone. And I'm very happy to participate today. The India-Sweden Innovation Center is a very innovative concept and a very timely concept also. It is a very unique kind of a cross-country setup with the Swedish Trade Commissioner's Office in Delhi, AIIMS Delhi and AIIMS Jodhpur. And I compliment all, including also Business Sweden, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in India, Ministry of Health and Social Affairs in Sweden, for their very helpful guidance whenever is needed, and for their being potential partners also in this ecosystem. The name Innovation Center sounds very interesting, and I believe that it would work towards finding innovative solutions through healthcare by startups bringing, particularly identifying potential frugal innovation ideas in the healthcare field, incubate and develop them into effective and economic innovative solutions, making them available to masses. I understand one such product was identified in the Innovation Challenge of 2018 and 19, which was developed by a Bangalore-based diagnostic company for early detection of diabetic foot This solution is now being deployed as part of a metabolic clinic project in Wardha district with the Public Health Department of Maharashtra. So this we have high hopes with this innovation center. And also to recapitulate what Nicholas was saying, that year 2019 was of particular importance in the healthcare sector between India and Sweden. The healthcare MOU celebrated its 10 years anniversary, which was a very successful cooperation, both at institutional and B2B levels. And I would say it was a very happy moment when it was decided that the 10th anniversary of the MOU will be celebrated as Year of Health. And Minister Hellgren from Sweden visited India in February 2019. She also visited AIIMS Jodhpur at that time, and thereafter AIIMS Jodhpur visited Sweden, and a collaboration agreement was also signed. 2019 year's highlight was the visit of their Majesties to India. And along with other things, it was a very happy moment when Queen Sylvia, Her Majesty Queen Sylvia visited AIIMS Delhi. Also, the Swedish State Secretary, Dr. Maja Fältstad, had a meeting with Dr. Harshvardhan, and it was emphasized that because of this very successful cooperation, it should continue further. And with this vision now, there is a scheduling of the 11th Joint Working Group in October 2020. And I'm also happy to say that during the 11th Joint Working Group, there would be a B2B engagement on healthcare companies also on the sidelines. COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted that there is more to be done in the healthcare. There are enormous opportunities that exist between India and Sweden. And I believe both our sides are looking at them very positively. In 2019, if you would recall, that Sweden-India Business Council had organized a 30-member startup team which came to Sweden from India with the assistance of Swedavia. And there one participant, Manjunath, his innovation was noticed by everyone for the early detection of breast cancer. So there is lots to be done, and there are many success stories which can come out. Under the innovation challenge, which we are talking now, we can estimate there would be about 80 to 100 frugal innovation ideas in the form of startups, which would be cost effective and doable ones, and I'm sure they will reach the next level. And when they reach the next level, they will receive incubator space from AIIMS Jodhpur, mentorship for 1 year, and 100 hours of networking support, and 100 hours of free guidance on international market. I'm sure Innovation Challenge will bring on board at least 10 Indian startups and start from Startup India pool. The whole idea of setting up the India-Sweden Innovation Center and Innovation Challenge is very highly innovative, and is expected that there is more and more will be done in this particular sector. With these words, I compliment once again everyone for organizing this event and convey my best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shukla. I think you have covered almost everything that comes under the center and the challenge going forward, which we're going to talk about a little later during this webinar. And also talking about the opportunities that lie within. I would now like to call upon my colleague, Ms. Harika Garapati from Business Sweden, who is also Program Manager for this Innovation Center, to talk a little about the healthcare transformations in India during the New World Order. Harika, I hand over to you now.
Thank you so much, Dolly, and it's a great honor to speak on this particular platform. And I hope all the Swedish entrepreneurs who are watching us live through the YouTube channel are interested in Indian market, and that's the reason why you're looking at this particular webinar. But what we thought is it would be a good idea to give you a brief overview about the key trends that are happening in the Indian healthcare ecosystem to get that over glance of what is happening in India. So if you look at Indian healthcare market, the first key thing that anyone will talk about is the transformation that is going through. Specifically with Mr. Narendra Modi's government, there has been a lot of emphasis on making healthcare affordable and accessible to everyone. And this has been our primary focus for the Innovation Center as well, which through by making innovation as a key lever to make healthcare affordable and accessible. But having said that, there are a few things that we thought we'll cover in the Indian market perspective. Can we go to the next slide, please? So if you look at India, I think majority of you would have already known that India is home to over 1/3 billion or 1/3 of world's population. Though it creates a lot of challenges in managing that population and creating a good healthcare ecosystem, it also creates a lot of opportunities. These opportunities are not only for the Indian market per se, but it's also for the complete global market. And how can we improve the healthcare delivery efficiency in India as well as globally? So obviously, if you're impacting 1/3 of the world's population, it's impacting the majority of the ecosystem. So with that said, and that's the reason, and with the recent changes that are happening in the Indian healthcare ecosystem, there has been a significant focus towards healthcare delivery in India. And that has resulted in a significant growth rate in the healthcare market, right from 15% in the past 5 years, and it's projected to grow at 20%. There are multiple reasons that are causing this particular trend. And if you go to the next slide, so there are three, I'll bucketize all the key trends that are happening in the Indian market into three major buckets. The first thing is the urbanization that is happening, the demographic shift that is happening. Because of that demographic shift, there has been a shift in the lifestyle diseases. What that means is, though this has changed slightly because of COVID, there has been a significant push towards NCDs. And because of this, there has been a significant investment, both by government as well as by private sector players, to screen larger amount of population and to increase the diagnosis of these population. So again, a lot of investment that is going on in these areas to improve the healthcare delivery. And second major important thing that is happening is on the increased government focus. And one key initiative that is happening in this particular area is implementation of Ayushman Bharat, something similar to Obamacare. It's called Modi Care, where the insurance is being provided to over 50 million population and 500 million population across in India. So what this means is this is a huge step towards making the government's aim to make the healthcare more affordable. And a lot of push has been in this particular area, and I think with this particular step, it will only further strengthen the healthcare ecosystem in India. And last but not least, the complete intervention of the technology and innovation in healthcare. Specifically, the government has also been a lot pushing towards digital health. And specifically within the digital health, telemedicine is one of the critical areas that Government of India has always been highlighting. So these are the broad level trends, but with the impact of COVID, there has been a significant change even with respect to these trends. And to speak about those trends, I would request Dr. Kuldeep, Dean Academics and HOD Pediatrics from AIIMS Jodhpur, to speak about the transformation that the healthcare system has seen in India, specifically after the impact of COVID.
Thank you, Harika, and greetings from AIIMS Jodhpur. On behalf of AIIMS Jodhpur, I welcome Anders, Nicholas, Anita, and all the participants, entrepreneurs who are from the Swedish side, who are going to have their input into this into this venture. So basically, as Harika has mentioned about, there's a lot of healthcare infrastructure changes which are going to happen in the coming years in the future. And the COVID has accelerated all those things very fast. And one of the key area in this is the telemedicine. Now, when we talk about the telemedicine, it is not unlike the West. West has some well-developed system of providing the care to the patient. But here in India, there are very much challenges are there in that. And these challenges need to be addressed with innovative methods, because the whatever we are following in the West can be applied in the Indian situations. Because Indian population are different, they have a different needs and different expectations. And also, most of the populations are living in the remote area. There may be lack of awareness about these technology. So that's why there is a lot of scope in the telemedicine area and telehealth, teleophthalmology, and telemonitoring in India. I think there may be many questions I will be able to answer in the end, but there are things which are now has got acceleration because of the National Digital Health Mission. So in 2017, our government announced about the National Health Policy. And in the National Health Policy, they have also announced about the Ayushman Bharat, that is the Modi Care, in which there are two components of that Ayushman Bharat. One is the insurance scheme for the unorganized sector, so that the healthcare can reach to those people who are underprivileged. And secondly, also to create health and wellness centers. Now, these health and wellness centers are one of the pillars, important pillar for providing the healthcare to the communities. And in fact, they are also linked with the school health education. So there is a lot of scope in this area also. Now with the National Digital Health Mission, one of the component for the Ayushman Bharat to accelerate and provide the equity to everybody. But again, the challenges are there, because when we talk about the digitalization, now digitalization also can provide create a divide. So that's why the innovation should address equality toward everybody. So because on one hand, the digitalization can reach to the everybody, but on the other hand, there are people who don't have the facility to access the digitalized medicine. So here comes the importance of the electronic health records and also providing the telehealth services. So one of the part of this digital transformation is that every individual in the country will have the health ID card. So in some places they have, in the unit territories, they have started. But again, there's a lot of scope in the other part of the country where how we can implement this digital health record, a digital ID. One of the debatable issue which has come up during this many discussions in the medias and other places is about the privacy and confidentiality. Now we have to understand privacy and confidentiality of the Western population is different than from the Indian population. So again, differently, we have to think differently in this direction also. It is not the strictness of the privacy, but to extent some of the important information has to be kept strictly confidential. So again, in this area, innovations can be give boost to the healthcare in the country. And one of the important thing is when we talk about all these things, telemedicine, National Health Register, Ayushman Bharat, and also digital ID and the electronic health record, the most of the population is not aware. 60% of the population is not aware at all. We experimented at our center at AIIMS Jodhpur, telemedicine, and we found that only those who have access to the digital technology are able to access. So that's why, and the rest of the people are also not aware about this digital technology. So we have to create not only about the technology awareness, but about the disease diagnosis and prevention. So I think there are many steps which can be taken to create an awareness. First of all, the education, spreading education and literacy among the masses with the help of digital technology is one area. Now we have that radio, community radios, FM radios, which can spread the information in the places where the internet is not available. But again, gradually the government will also have the internet facility in the remotest area, because that is one of the priority of the government. And with this, we can increase the awareness about the health. When the awareness of the people about the health comes, and they don't take the health for a ride, and they don't take it as a like a free entity. It should be that health is the wealth. That is a concept that is to be inbuilt. Everything comes at a cost, and they have to understand. And here comes the role of the screening. We can provide the screening facility so that the many of the non-communicable disease and the disease which are not infectious can be diagnosed at an early stage. When we are diagnosing these diseases, it create a platform for developing the diagnostic technology and also for the management technology. And because our innovation center at AIIMS Jodhpur is targeting about some of the broadest conditions, including the non-communicable disease, which includes the oncology and metabolic, renal, and cardiac disorders. But this is not limited to only these conditions. It can be linked to the various other technology like Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, telehealth, telemedicines, and awareness creating educational programs. So this is a brief about how we can accelerate the healthcare transformation in India with the help of innovations in the coming future post-COVID time, because some of these has to be sustainable also. So, and if you have any other questions, I will be ready to answer those questions. Thank you, Harika. And thanks, Dolly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kuldeep. You very rightly said health is wealth, and awareness is the first step to it all. Now, to provide some awareness about the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center and to give an overview, I would like to invite my colleagues, Mr. Amrit Hinduja and Mr. Shubhang Vikas, to take us through this. They are both senior managers at Business Sweden. Amrit, I hand over to you and then over to Shubhang, please.
Thank you, Dolly. Both me and Shubhang, co-leading the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center, are happy to kind of walk the gathering today and introduce them into this this collaboration that we have developed. Much of the context, I think, has already been set by my colleagues before, including Anders Nicholas and Ms. Shukla, who very rightly, I think, have kind of mentioned that this India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center is very much part of a wider collaboration picture, both in terms of the India-Sweden Healthcare MOU as well as the in spirit of the India-Sweden Joint Innovation Declaration. And this is kind of, I would say, in many ways, the foundation where we have rooted this collaboration between Sweden, represented by the Swedish Trade Commissioner's Office, AIIMS Delhi, and AIIMS Jodhpur. While we call this a center, I could maybe clarify that what we are really trying to do is create an ecosystem. Which is spread not just in India, but across India and Sweden for open innovation. And therefore, the word center can be a misnomer sometimes. We do, of course, have some things that we are going to be geographically positioned at AIIMS Jodhpur and Delhi, because you need to have a base. But a lot of what we will do, we aim to do across both countries in terms of an ecosystem. And therefore, the importance of all the partners who were mentioned in the beginning, both within India and outside India. And this ecosystem is being designed very much in what roots in the Swedish success model to innovation, which is the quadruple helix, which would include academia, policymakers, companies, and civil society, startups, etc. And we will talk more about our partners as we go ahead. The photograph that you see in front of you is of one of the milestones which were mentioned earlier, of where this collaboration was signed during the royal visit to India in December. And for us, it's not just a photograph, but it resembles the commitment in this collaboration from both sides, India and Sweden, with the presence of both ministers of health of India, the secretaries of health of both countries, and the directors of AIIMS, along with other key dignitaries who are working to develop India's healthcare system. The India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center has been set very much in line with both India's mission and vision for healthcare, as well as in line with the SDGs, as Nicholas was talking, 2030, where we would like to create solutions that create accessibility around the world, that creates affordability around the world. And I think Dr. Kuldeep already mentioned a lot on why that is necessary, both in India and similar markets. And therefore, through this innovation center, we aim to identify challenges in the healthcare system that exist both in India and Sweden and lift those up and see how we can solve them by engaging with the startup ecosystem and other relevant stakeholders. And today, we will therefore inform about one of the initiatives that we have under this, which is the first innovation challenge being launched under this banner, where we will invite you to apply if you have relevant solutions. And this ecosystem and this challenge is open for startups across the value chain, where you are early stage, mid stage, as well as late stage, with the focus that we help you go to the next step in your journey. And of course, so also promote the entire idea of how we can use the collaboration with India to kind of make the success stories of India the success stories for Sweden and the world. With that, I invite my colleague Shubhang to talk more about our approach in this innovation center.
Thank you so much, Amrit, and good afternoon, everyone. Well, a lot has been, talked about this concept of ecosystem, the concept of innovation being very holistic. But what exactly do we mean by ecosystem? There are quite a few innovation ecosystems or environments, and successful ones in India. And the same can be said about Sweden. And Sweden has been definitely ahead in the game, where this concept of innovation has been quite old, given the plethora of inventions, that has really helped improve the quality of lives of people across the globe. But the beauty of this government-to-government collaboration between India and Sweden has provided us with an opportunity to tie up with the right partners across all the quadruple helix or the triple helix that my speaker spoke about earlier, in an effort to provide a platform where innovators can not only ideate, develop, and test solutions, but very, very importantly, can use the platform to scale up the solutions, not just in India, but also in Sweden. But, I can go on a limb and say across the globe as well, depending on the applicability of the solution itself. The final goal of our innovation center, the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center, is to create an impact in the healthcare delivery system of India and Sweden. And when we say impact, it can mean a lot of different things, but in a very, very simplistic fashion, we want to improve the lives of the patient who would take advantage of this healthcare delivery in both the countries. Now, there are certain pillars or certain building blocks which we intend to enable to help create this particular impact. The very first one is protocols and processes. So when we talk about protocols, what we mean is the continuum of care concept, awareness, screening, treatment, follow-up and rehabilitation, and so on and so forth. How can we innovate in these protocols and processes so that the effectiveness and efficacy of these protocols and processes become much simpler and much more usable? And what it actually means is that how can we make it absolutely simple and straightforward for the administrators of these protocols and processes, who are the medical practitioners, and also make it super simple and super clear for the receivers of these processes, which is the end patient. Second is technology. Well, technology is pervasive, and especially digital technologies in this day and age. It is difficult to reimagine business models or protocols or processes or even use of data without intelligent use of technologies such as AI, machine learning, deep learning, IoT, telehealth protocols and frameworks, etc., etc. So, but I should also say that the objective of the Innovation Center is not to improve technology per se, but how we can use technology to create an impact, how we can use technology to kind of improve a certain point of care device, or how we can use technology to reimagine business models that exist across the globe. And now coming to a business model, there is a certain cost burden that everyone has to bear, right, while providing healthcare delivery, or while providing healthcare or receiving healthcare. How can we use technology to basically make sure that the cost of the entire healthcare reduces on the government and the patient alike? Fourth is data. Very importantly, India as a country produces copious amounts of data. And as a matter of fact, I know Dr. Kuldeep from AIIMS Jodhpur is working with or planning to work with Swedish institutes who want to kind of collaborate with India to get that right amount of data to test out the solutions. So how can we use data? How can we best process data, and how can we disseminate the right amount of data or information so as to kind of create an impact? And last but not the least, but which is something which is not mentioned here, is the ability to skill medical practitioners and paramedics and build capacity. We can create the best innovative solutions possible, but unless and until we train the folks who would actually deliver that particular healthcare, it will not be of any use. So we feel with this 4 or 5 business or other pillars or building blocks would enable us to help you, innovators and startups, to create the right impact that we anticipate and desire through this particular program. Now, if we can go to talking a bit about who the partners in this particular program are. I think it has been mentioned by many speakers, but just to put it into perspective and context, again, we have followed the triple helix model of having partners across government, academia, and industry, also known as knowledge and technology partners. From the government side, we have the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare's Government of India, the Health and Social Affairs Government of Sweden, the respective embassies, the Embassy of Sweden in India, Embassy of India in Sweden. Apart from them, we are very proud to have Indian Council of Medical Research, who are a force to reckon with and who are the ones who actually design and try to kind of improve protocols and process across the country. Plus, we have tied up with policymakers such as NITI Aayog's Atal Innovation Mission, who have a huge network of incubators and incubation systems across the country. And of course, Invest India, Startup India, and Agni are our prime partners, as of given the fact that they have done a lot of work in encouraging innovation across the country since their inception. The second category is academia. I think this is one of the most important parts of this entire program, and also kind of completes the holistic nature of innovation or ecosystem that we want to create. So we are very proud to collaborate with All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi and All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Jodhpur. They are our prime collaborators. And as it will be discussed a little shortly, but both these institutes have opened up their facilities in terms of providing mentorship from faculty, providing access to the laboratories for innovators to kind of test the solutions or collect data samples in the right manner, and just kind of be in a hospital environment, which would be the final place where these innovations should and would be used in all probability. The third, from an industry perspective, we have AstraZeneca, a global company that requires no introduction and has extreme experience of innovating even internally, but more importantly, innovating with academia, government across the globe. And we're doing the same thing in India. And of course, NASSCOM, who are our technology partners. For folks who are from Sweden, NASSCOM is an association of IT and IT-related companies, and they bring a lot of technology expertise with them. And last but not the least, startups are something which are the base of this innovation center. Startups from India and startups from Sweden are the ones who will create or improve upon their innovative solutions that we would help you scale up across the country, both in India and Sweden. So with that, I would encourage you to kind of, please listen through the problem statements that will be talked about in the next section, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Back to you, Dolly.
Thank you very much, Shubhang, and also Amrit for giving us quite a comprehensive overview of the center. Now moving on to the company, like Shubham said, who needs no introduction, I would like to invite Mr. Deepak Arora, Director, MA and Commercial Strategy from AstraZeneca, to take us through the innovation challenge themes and also the problem statement. Deepak, over to you, please.
Thank you so much. And first of all, a very good evening to all the dignitaries in the panel. And Ma'am Anita, it's always a pleasure hearing you. You provide a complete background, starting the nostalgia of where this journey started and where we are today. So thanks for helping us to go back into the memory lanes while we all struggling with the unprecedented times. So it's always good to get some fresh memories of great times and golden times. I will directly get into the problem statement. I think that's very important aspect of the foundation in terms of what we are trying to do. And this was the problem statements which came in was actually with the mentorship of AIIMS Delhi, AIIMS Jodhpur, which daily, day in and out, really look into the disease state and then come out with some issues, gaps which are not being able to cater to, and how technology, protocols, processes can really play a big role in terms of either catching up the patients little early in terms of their disease state, or at least having some aspect in terms of making a nudge in terms of the adherence or a timely treatment. So the problem statements have been defined along with AIIMS Delhi, AIIMS Jodhpur, and also a lot of help came in from ICMR and Health Ministry also to look into, are we really into the right track itself, where we have identified what problems are and how our startups and partners will help us in terms of taking care of some of those and trying to help us with whether it's technology based on AI, IoTs, or in terms of how we bring beyond the pill concept to make sure end of the day the outcome of patients are improved and also the caregivers. So the problem statements which have been identified are effectively addressing some of the key public health challenges, especially when we are talking about non-communicable diseases. But I think as Dr. Kuldeep told, we can also look at, apart from NCDs also, some of the disease state we are talking about is diabetes, cardiovascular, cancer, respiratory diseases. When you talk about cancer, it's also not only in the woman cancer stream, but also lung, prostate, and others. Around or across the disease life cycle, we're also looking into solution like data, AI-based approaches, as well as some protocols or processes which may help us in terms of an early diagnosis, timely treatment, or in terms of helping us for a follow-up of adherence. Not last but not the least, also in terms of the data which we are sitting in, what we can do with the big data analytics so that we can look into some real-world evidence coming out of that data. We also looked into a couple of aspects of early detection. Example, I'm taking about heart failure, CKD, which are not talked too much, but I think we are underrepresented in terms of these two major debilitating diseases which we are struggling with in terms of heart failure and CKD. Patient-friendly devices. I think the important aspect is once the treatment is given, is the patient adhering or not? And the recent data tells us around 56% non-adherence is there in chronic therapies. Is there a way we can get in some patient-friendly devices, home monitoring systems, which help in improving the adherence, which ultimately improves the outcome? There is also an aspect of in the problem statement about devices such as non-invasive wearables that facilitates remote monitoring of patients. Well, examples are post-ACS patients after an angioplasty, for example. Now, how these patients are taking care of their own diseases, the self-awareness, making sure early signs and symptoms lead them to get back to their family physicians or to the specialist so that they can prevent another heart attack. So as Dr. Kuldeep was talking about frugal innovation, being very cost effective, as well as access or reach, I think some of this technology will help in all, making it cost effective. If the treatment gets on time and is adhered, the outcome really helps in preventing complications, which make the overall cost effectiveness of the product or the byproduct which the patient is on. Last but not the least, I think any efforts in terms of efficient tools that simplify data capture, simplify data sharing, transfer, example, cloud-based platforms that also allow remote access to patient records or diagnostic reports will be very helpful. Last, I think one of the aspects which I think everyone is touching on, apart from health tech, AI, or IoT, is all about the data pack solutions in terms of, how do we do the data mining of the health records. With that, we can create a big real world evidence and then come back in terms of sharing back in terms of the cost effectiveness of a cost effective model, or can synergize with the health economic outcome research. An important consideration would be also that these solutions sufficiently frugal to be able to operate in low resources and low bandwidth usage. So while our focus is NCDs, but I think we are talking apart from NCDs in any other disease, we're talking about not only in terms of anything which we can do post-operative care, but also in terms of home monitoring in chronic care setting, or after an acute episode, how a patient can take care of his or her lifestyle as well as disease in terms of how we can modify and make sure we prevent complications or at least avoid the progression. With this, I will pass on to my colleague, Jasper, the Associate Director, Government Affairs for Asia Pac, who will help us in terms of with his experience around the world with many more innovation centers, example is China or in Sweden, to help us see what are the key benefits which we bring to our startups. Jasper?
Thank you very much, Deepak, and allow me to quickly echo your sentiment when it comes to feeling incredibly grateful to work with so many fantastic partners and so many promising startups on making happen this very ambitious project. I hope that by now you feel sufficiently compelled about the vision of the Innovation Challenge, the possibilities that are there to really make a difference in terms of healthcare in India and beyond. But we wanted to give a little bit more of an in-depth insight into what we believe that the benefits would be to the startups who participate in this program. Some interesting proof points from a previous edition of the Innovation Challenge that we organized before are actually that two of those, the winners of those of the Innovation Challenge, have been successfully entering foreign markets. One has set up operations in a large international market, and another one is involved in a big international project spanning 10 markets. And we believe that that sort of success can be made possible through six, I'll highlight only six, of the benefits of participation. The first one here is mentorship. Obviously, some of the biggest challenges that startups such as yourself face are related to getting the right kind of advice and the right kind of feedback, either when it comes to getting your science right, or when it comes to getting your product, getting your science outside of the lab and into the real world clinical setting, into the real world market. And so mentorship is something that we believe very strongly in, and something that this program offers. Funding then is another very obvious obstacle to most of you. And so through the Innovation Challenge, we've partnered with a number of VCs and private equity firms to facilitate your access to funding from a wide array of investors. Then, of course, once you have your feedback right, you have your funding right, but you still need to showcase your solutions. You still need to show the world what you can do. And that's also something where we believe the program has a lot to offer. Throughout the program, there will be multiple opportunities to get exposure with the key audiences for your solution. And so we hope that we can help amplify your reach to those key decision makers. I've alluded to it a little bit before, the global reach. This is something that AstraZeneca feels really proud of. We believe in close collaboration across borders, across markets. And as part of the global reach that this program offers, there is a connection to be made to AstraZeneca's Emerging Markets International Innovation Hubs network. That's a mouthful. And what that allows you to do is simply connect with innovators, with key key potential clients in other markets through networking and other kind of experience sharing type of events. Fifth point then is incubation. Incubation in the sense of both very physically at the AIIMS Jodhpur campus, at the IIT Jodhpur campus, there are live incubation facilities that allow you to test your product in a live clinical setting and in the laboratories that are available there. And there's a similar offering at NASSCOM in Bangalore. So for those people who are looking to really run with the product and get live feedback from trying it out, the incubation center is very valuable. And then finally, coming to networking, a lot of the success that comes for a young startup trying to again bring its scientific product out of the lab into the world, a lot of the opportunities come from networking. And so the program will offer a wide range of events, both within India and ex-India, outside of India, to network with all the different kinds of partners you might want to look out for. And that includes policymakers, that includes health experts, that include industry leaders, and that includes other startups that you might have things in common with. And I'll pause there. I think that covers it quite nicely.
Thank you, Jasper, and also Deepak for taking us through these things. I would just like to re-highlight the fact that Jasper pulled up about the live patient environment and also the availability of data. We're very happy that we have the possibility to be at AIIMS Jodhpur and also have the provision of a hospital environment to collect and use data. So thank you for that. And all the information regarding the problem statement and the themes are up available on our website, which we will just shortly share the details of. But these are the timelines of the challenge. We opened up mid-August. It is on until the 27th of September for all the companies watching us through YouTube to apply through. And we will close and evaluate after that till about the 24th of October and make the announcement of the winners on the 25th. So please, I am going to reiterate it over and over again. Very welcome. Please apply to the Innovation Challenge if you feel this is something you could give input into, if there is an interesting product or a solution that you have, an idea that should come to fruition. So please go ahead. And if we can just share the details of our website and the contact person. So now I would also with that hand over once again to Harika for the Q&A session. I do realize we're almost close to close time, but if we could just take up a few questions quickly. Harika, over to you now.
Thank you so much, Dolly. And as usual, we have seen an amazing response, and there are a few questions that are very interesting. So I'll take up some of the questions quickly. The first question is to Dr. Kuldeep. Sir, what can medical students do to contribute in the initiative?
I think there is a scope for the medical student because medical students have a lot of ideas, and because they have undergone through some of the basic things and the clinical clerkship. So in that situation, they have more ideas which can be incorporated for the innovation. And they also understand the patient problem, which is like end user problem. And also they understand their problems, the doctor's problem, how the doctors are applying. So medical students can be a very big boost for the innovations if they participate in this challenge.
Thank you, Dr. Kuldeep. Next question that we have is, I think, might be relevant to all the Swedish companies that were looking at the webinar right now, is what is our role in India as experienced high-tech innovation companies from Sweden? What's our role in India as an experienced high-tech company, innovative company in Sweden? So Amrit, do you want to take this first? And I will also ask Deepak also to address this.
what's the role of a high-tech Swedish company? What role they can play in India? Okay, so I think whenever you look at any market, you need to kind of look at the kind of a win-win scenario, and that's what we're really trying to create here. So when you look at your technology, we are trying to see how can we kind of bring that to India and kind of solve India's healthcare challenges. So in that perspective, not just technology from Sweden, from technology around the world is what we're looking at to collaborate for this. But we start with Sweden in baby steps, since this is a cross-country collaboration. But of course, if you come to the market and you're kind of investing on the market, then you also need to get some advantages. And of course, the context we set earlier in terms of how big the market is in the country, I think that itself is quite self-explanatory into the opportunities you could have within a market like India. Deepak, would you like to add something more?
I think the only thing which I would like to add is that the whole cross-planet or cross-global collaboration, while we all are struggling with the same diseases, some of them have found some ways in and out in terms of managing it, either with the pill or beyond the pill in terms of what we're talking about technology. While we are also trying to progressing, but we are still struggling. Any of these healthcare startups, which either in India or in Sweden can bring a kind of a nudge to this disease, will be helpful not only for India but also across Asia or back to Sweden also. So there's a learning platform and there's a collaboration opportunity.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Amrit. I think there's the other question that we have is how large a problem is musculoskeletal pain, inactivity, and falls in India? What digital solutions are available now, and what solutions in India looking for in the space of movement-related problem? Dr. Kuldeep, will you start and we could ask others as well?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of problems right from the birth till the aging population, elderly population. Like children who are suffer from asphyxia or some neurodevelopment defect at the time of birth, they have disability. And some of the genetic disorders, especially the neurogenetic disorders, cause a lot of disability and motion problems. And there is a great opportunity to work in this area because the people in the physical medicine rehabilitation, they are working hard. They are analyzing the gait, they are providing processes and devices, but there is a huge opportunity to minimize the disability and improve the quality of life of these patients. When we talk about the pains, chronic pains are very common, especially among the post-pregnant women, in the women of the reproductive age group or after menopause, even in the elderly population when they have osteoporosis and other bone condition, causing more metabolic bone disease which cause pain. So pain also is one of the area where we can do some innovations to minimize those pain. Regarding the motion, so there are many genetic disorders. Our neurologist and neurosurgery friends will agree with that there are many neurogenetic problems in India which needs rehabilitation and also to improve the quality and disability reduction. Because sometimes these conditions are not curable. But again, if we can improve the quality with the help of innovation, it will be a much better thing in the healthcare. So I think there is a lot of scope in the innovation in this area.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kuldeep. Deepak, anything to add?
No, the experts said it very well. So I won't add anything.
Agreed. Okay. The other question that we have is they have an EHR platform which is integrated with SNO Med. What are the ways to engage with the institutes and startups to collaborate? Shubham, do you want to take that question? And then I will divert it to others as well.
Sure. So there is an EHR platform, or what was that, Harika?
Healthcare EHR platform, electronic health record. Yeah.
Right. So no, absolutely. I think as one of our building blocks or pillars is about how do we best make use of data, right? And your particular platform would add to that. One of our problem statements is about kind of collecting real world data so that we can have a positive impact on patient outcomes. So in that sense, your solution, without knowing as to what level of maturity it is in, looks like a good alignment to the objectives that we have as an innovation center. So, I mean, I would encourage you to kind of check that problem statement out and please apply to that. And if you still have a problem or rather a question, please call us or contact us at these coordinates.
I think I can also answer this question. Actually, AIIMS Jodhpur is already having the computerized patient management system and one of its own EHR. And what you have said about the SNOMED city. Now, this is a very new concept globally. That is the systematic nomenclature of clinical terms, from the medical point of view. So this is a standard which is being adopted by most of the countries. Previously, ICD-10 was being used, but now this SNOMED city is one of the most useful universalization of the medical terms in the electronic health records. And I think this is an area of scope in India because, first of all, the people are not aware. Even the software companies are having a different type of setups for the EHR. And I think if we can work in this area, this will be a great opportunity considering the National Digital Health Mission the government is talking about. So working in this area will give a much more better equality in the patient healthcare, keeping the privacy and other things, and also helping the doctors to concentrate more on the patient care rather than the electronic things and computerized thing. So I think this is a wonderful area which can be given an opportunity in India.
Thank you, Dr. Kuldeep. There are two questions, but related to the same area. I'm a student at the moment for hackathon. You're planning as part of the innovation channel. What are the mandatory end product of the event? Prototype or well-planned structure of the product? Dr. Kuldeep, you want to start the question and then we could divert it to someone else as well.
Okay, yeah. For the students also, as part of the open challenge, so any idea which can be like taken to a very level, to a higher level for innovative product in the healthcare, it is welcome. And students mostly have new ideas, very brilliant ideas also. But sometimes these ideas on the face value appears to be very good. But again, when you start working, then you realize that, okay, there are problems. And when the mentors are there who are experts in the medical field in a different specialty, around 25 medical specialties, super specialties are here in Jodhpur and AIIMS Delhi, who can mentor these innovative ideas to develop and flourish. So I think students can very well participate, and there is no mandatory requirement, but some guidelines are there for the innovation challenge, which they can go through the website. And others which are highlighted by the Amrit and Shubhang.
Yeah, okay. Can I just add? I mean, absolutely, I agree with Dr. Kuldeep. I think all ideas are welcome, of course, right? But I think please give your idea a real think through, right? If it's a completely raw idea, please work on that idea for a couple of weeks, months, or what have you to kind of take it to some amount of maturity. Because as a platform, we have a wide array of mentors, right? Starting from AIIMS Jodhpur, AIIMS Delhi, and with our partners in Sweden as well and across the industry. But an idea has to have a certain level of maturity before which we will be able to help you, right? The final goal is to take you to the next stage. So if an idea has been germinated through a couple of rounds of discussion, within your own cohorts or your own students or your own guides, I think we'll be in a better position to kind of help you out. So remember the ideas of, or rather points of the idea being frugal, being indigenous, and also to make sure that you are successful, make sure that the idea can be applicable in India and Sweden and across the globe too. So that, and that is the scale that we can enable for you through this platform.
Thank you, Shubhang. Back to Dr. Kuldeep. One question I think, so though no one asked, I think that will be interesting, is how can Swedish startups engage with this particular platform and what benefits that Swedish startups can gain out of this platform? Shubhang, do you want to start with? And I'll ask this question to everyone so that everyone can give their point of view as well, because that's critical for specifically for the Swedish startups.
Sure. No, absolutely. A great question. I think, I mean, it's like $1 million question, right? As to why would a Sweden startup, come to India or be associated with it? So like I think a couple of my esteemed panelists and experts said, right, that Sweden is a little ahead in the game of innovation with a lot of challenges, even though same, the scale does not exist, right? Just because of the nature of the country. Whereas in India, uh, a lot of challenges get magnified and kind of, because of the scale that we have over here. I mean, when we talk about a certain disease, and if we say that, hey, this disease affects, say, 5 to 6% of the population, right, in a certain demographic, we're talking about millions and millions of people. So while a solution that has worked in Sweden probably may be really good for Sweden and the Nordic area, but if you really want to kind of go global, and you need to kind of test it out in a country that offers you that scale, and India is one of those countries that probably offers you the scale. And at the same time, also, I would like to highlight is that with AIIMS Jodhpur, AIIMS Delhi, other innovation centers in India, and the other innovation centers run by AstraZeneca, the kind of research that is happening in India across sectors is cutting edge, right? A lot of it probably does not get published, or is not, or people are unable to access it's sitting in Sweden and other countries. But once you come here, the level of sophistication of research that is happening, you will find it is at the same level or probably even better than a lot of places in the world. So in that sense, use this platform as a place to test out your solutions, as a platform to see if your solution is really global. And of course, if India and the South Asia or the larger APAC area is the market of your focus.
Thanks for that, Shubham. Jesper or Deepak, do you want to add anything, and what's your point of view on this?
Yeah, maybe real quick. So one thing that I have experienced with European startups trying to reach Asia Pacific is that in addition to the scale that India offers, there is also the dynamism and the speed that India offers. So whether you need manufacturers that can help you do quick prototyping, whether you need a diversity of locations to test your product, whether you need a diversity of data sources, there is so much happening in India at the same place at a pace that is so much faster than what we typically experience in Europe. It really is quite astonishing what can be done in a very short amount of time, and that has never been more true than today. Now that healthcare, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, is amongst the top priorities, both because of the public health benefits, but also because of its tremendous potential to drive economic growth. And so I would say, if you're interested, but you're not 100% sure, reach out and let's have a conversation about what specifically are your barriers to growth. What specifically do you need to succeed and scale up your solution? And let's just see whether it's a good match or not. It might not be a good match for everybody, but honestly, the benefits of making the jump are quite astonishing.
Thank you so much, Jasper. I think you highlighted it very well. Dr. Kuldeep, any other thoughts that you have on this particular question?
Yeah, I think what Jasper has said and Shubhang has highlighted about working in India from the Swedish partner is that there is a diversity, not only in the type of disease, different ethnicity, linguistic also, culture also. So there are many areas which are very challenging to work with. And I think this can add not only the scale up of the innovative product, but also it will increase the global reach also possible. At the same time, it will help most of the other countries which are developing or in the development stage. And even the well-developed countries can also benefit from these research and the innovations. So it will be quite useful as we see that from the north to south and east to west, there's a huge diversity of the disease and the culture.
Yeah. Anything to start, Amrit?
I think there's a lot already said, but maybe I can just highlight one or two points which were coming to my mind. I think one of the core things which are reflected by the panel today is the unique mix that has come to actually create this collaboration. You have several collaborations probably in the world when it comes to innovation, but this unique mix of having the government premier healthcare institutes of the country along with the best-in-class companies like AstraZeneca bringing their experience to the table, and an organization like Business Sweden. I think this creates a very interesting mix to propel from where you are, and especially to create the success story and then kind of create visibility for that success story. I think that's the power over and above what has been spoken. And number two, I think most of the Swedish participants in this discussion, I think in wide the wide objective of Business Sweden to promote Swedish exports. And I think with our strong experience within the team, which we have across the globe, I think that mix of that type of growth agenda that we have mixed with the clinical experience that is coming and the policy side, I think this again creates a very, I would say, unique formula to kind of speeden up your growth process. So those are some additional reasons.
And I think everyone has highlighted it very much comprehensively. So that's it for the end of the questions. So if you have any further questions, please do reach out to us in the credentials that are shared on the screen. We'll be happy to address any queries that you will be having on the Indian market or anything one-on-one. So please reach out to us and do apply to the innovation challenge that was there live in our website. And the last day to apply for the innovation challenge is 27 September. I hope we clarified some of your questions, and hope to see you soon with your application on the Innovation Challenge. Thank you so much. I would request all the speakers to hold on for a moment. We'll take a quick screen grab before we exit. Can everyone switch on their videos, please?
I think Yasmin, Manju, Jonas, Mr. Shukla.
I still can't see.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take one more. Thanks, Yasmin.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Kipa. Bye-bye.